Hello, we are back. Wednesday, January 23rd, 2019. Well, we had a nice recovery today from yesterday. Markets were up. Dow was up 171 points, up for most of the day. Nasdaq squeaked out a gain today. Nasdaq was actually down most of the day. Came back, finished up barely, just 5 points. Holding over that 7,000 mark though right now at 7,025. A few big movers in the market today. The biggest gainer that I saw today was Synchrony Financial, ticker symbol SYF. This is a company that was spun off from General Electric a few years ago. Warren Buffett owns a big stake in Synchrony Financial. It's taken quite a hit here the last few months. They're being sued by Walmart because what happened was Synchrony issued the credit cards to Walmart customers. Whenever you open a credit card through Walmart, Synchrony handles all those cards. And Walmart decided to switch vendors for their credit cards. So Synchrony decided they didn't want to hand over all the account receivables for that account. So they were being sued by Walmart. So that caused the stock to drop. It was hovering around that $29 mark for a while, and then it went up quite a bit, up to I think about 35, 36, and then it fell back down to right around 26, I think, after the Walmart news. And just today, they announced that the Walmart lawsuit has been dropped, and at the same time, they recorded an earnings beat. So some really good news today for Synchrony Financial, and that one's still under $30. So you could have been holding that stock for 6 months, and you're still probably not even in the positive yet. So still not a bad time to pick up Synchrony. Maybe if it can get through that $30 mark. Sometimes these psychological barriers, the $30 mark, are hard to get through sometimes. So maybe it's not too far away here, less than $1 away. So maybe if it gets through that $30 mark, might want to pick up some shares. I think Synchrony pays a nice dividend too, about 2.5%, I think. So, but they did lose that Walmart contract, so that was a big part of their business. But I noticed they do have a lot of other retailers. We have a Fleet Farm here in town, and I have a credit card through them, and it's handled by Synchrony Financial. That's kind of how I first came about Synchrony, was when I was logging on to my account. And I'm always so interested in companies that anytime I find out about a company like that, I'll just start searching them, to see if they're a public company. And sure enough, they were. So that's how I found out about them. IBM had a good quarter. Their stock was up 8.5% today. It's been quite a while since IBM has had an earnings beat. Their stock has just been beaten down for the longest time now. I'm pretty sure that stock was over 200 a few years ago, and I think even after the gain today, it's still only about $132. So that's when I have a little bit of a position in IBM, not too much, but I think I'm still down on IBM even after today. So they've had quite a rough past couple of years here, but I didn't read into the earnings today. Not sure where their growth is coming from. They've got a lot of different segments of the business, so it'll be interesting to kind of read into that report and see where the main profits were. They have a lot going with the blockchain and artificial intelligence, so that was kind of why I took a small position in them. Anytime a big company like that has cutting edge technology, it's always a pretty good bet to put some money in there and just to have all your bases covered as far as technology goes. If something big comes along, those bigger companies are sometimes able to buy that technology up or integrate it quicker than a smaller company could. Let's see, New Age Beverages, seems like we talk about this one every day, but they're up 7% again today. Again, no news though, not sure what's going on, but 7%, not a huge move for them. That seems like the last couple of weeks here, That's been about average for them. They're usually up between 5 and 10% every, or up or down either way, 5 or 10% every day. So it's kind of still an interesting stock. Still would not buy any at this point, since they've had such a huge run up the last couple of years. So it'll make me a little nervous owning shares in that company unless it's a very small position. Company like that, just any day, they could dilute shareholders, sell millions of shares tomorrow, at $3 a share, and all of a sudden you're down, you lost 50-60% overnight. It's usually what happens with those company that size that's burning through cash and needs more money, which I'm sure they do because they've been buying up all these companies. I don't know. I really don't know how these smaller companies do it. Sometimes you always read articles, so and so bought up this company. It's like, where is the money coming from? They can't hardly pay their bills the way it is, and then they're acquiring these companies. Stuff like that it throws up a red flag for me. If you can't hardly afford to pay your current liabilities and you're out there making acquisitions, that usually doesn't turn out very well. Procter and Gamble also beat earnings. I'm surprised the Dow wasn't up more than it was today. A lot of big companies beating earnings. Dow was actually down for a while. The middle of the day here it was down, turned negative, just growth worries again, but ended up coming back at the end of the day. But these earnings are what really matters in markets, in my opinion. This other stuff is just kind of noise. But Procter and Gamble beat earnings today. Stock was up around 5%. So a good move to the upside for Procter and Gamble, another stock. It's had a hard time here the last couple of years. And a biotech stock here that was up decent today was Puma Biotechnology. PBYI is the ticker symbol. We've talked about them before. And the reason I noted that one today, even though it wasn't a real big gain, was just because biotechs today in general were down. I couldn't hardly find any biotechs that were up today. And Puma being up 4% without even any news, it still makes me think that there's a lot of takeover speculation out there. And I think some big news is coming in that company one way or another, good or bad. It's just the moves in that stock are just so wild that and they always have been, but there has always been a lot of news coming out of that company one way or another. So I'm sure it won't be too long here. I bet within the next month or so, there'll be some big news, and stock will either take a huge leg up or another leg down. So that's an interesting one to follow. A couple stocks that were down pretty good today was Remax Realty, ticker symbol RMAX. You've probably seen Remax Realty signs in yards before. They're a franchise. I believe they might be the largest franchise in the country as far as realty goes. Didn't see any significant news out of Remax today, but they are only valued at about $1 billion. So it doesn't take a whole lot to move the needle there. So Remax was down about 5% today. They do pay a 2+% dividend, so be an interesting stock to maybe dip your feet into there at that price. Tesla was downgraded. I think it was last night or this morning. They were down 4% today, and it looked like they were maybe going to cut production here or not produce as many vehicles as planned. That's another fascinating company. It's going to be interesting to see what Tesla does the next earnings call here. They turned their first profit last quarter. It'll be interesting to see if they can pull off another profit or if they're kind of going to take a step back here. But Tesla down 4% today. And those were mostly the big movers today. Not a whole lot going on. Fairly quiet today. The markets were kind of up and down. Like I said, everything was up pretty good this morning, and then it kind of took a nosedive over the lunch hour, and then everything came back towards the end of the day. So nothing too crazy going on in the markets today, but sure, we still got some earnings coming up here the rest of the week, so we should always have some big movers every day. if you're watching this, if you could please subscribe, I'd really like that. And we can maybe get some conversation going on here one of these days. Start, talking stocks. I'd like to learn some more about some companies that you guys know about, and we could trade information and, hopefully get into that next big company. So I'm always a believer, and there's always one out there, and there always is. If you look back, anytime in history, if you ever look back, there's always a company just sitting out there, that's kind of flying under the radar that ends up being a huge company if you can just find it. So yeah, if you can subscribe so you can get my updates every day, 5 minutes after the market closes, I'll be going over the big movers of the day. So that'll help you get alerts to when that's going on. So if you could subscribe, that would be very helpful. And I will see you tomorrow.